Hey Sub-Furies! This is part 2 of our theory on how Viggo Grimborn, the leader of the Dragon Hunters, is connected to Drago Bludvist, the power-hungry man of the second movie. You can click the link in the corner of the screen to go watch part 1. It'll really help, trust me. But because I know some of you won't, I'll give you a quick recap of what we talked about. I'm filming both of these videos on the same day, but you guys don't know because I'm wearing a different shirt. Okay, so Viggo clearly implied that he knew of a guy trying to take over the world when he said,
Hickson, I'm not unreasonable. I have no desire to rule the world like some people. I'm a businessman.
That's the first clue. Secondly, we also find that the Dragon Hunters have a brand that uses Drago Bludvist's personal symbol, a monstrous nightmare with a sword through it. So they've clearly interacted in some way, but how, we're not quite sure. Finally, some people think that the bloody fist that we see on their ships is meant to refer to Drago Bludvist, but it's actually more likely that this is just the Grimborn tribe symbol, not related to Drago. But the big thing that we're going to be talking about today is Krogan, the masked man that we meet in Last Auction Heroes. What he does in that episode finally cues us into the exact nature of the relationship that Drago and Viggo share. So Krogan wears Drago Bludvist's personal symbol on his cloak, a clear sign that he is a close representative of Dragos. He is also described by Riker to be a special guest. And I made a whole video explaining why he was so important to the Dragon Hunters, and you can click the link up in the corner of the screen to go watch that. It'll help. Now, originally I believed that the Dragon Hunters worked for Drago Bludvist, so I thought Krogan was sitting in on the auction to supervise Viggo. Think of it like the boss sitting in to make sure that you're doing the job right. Like Mishka constantly watches me. All hail Mishka. But Krogan then sees Toothless and tries to buy him with a huge amount of gold. Now what does this tell us? Drago already has a lot of Dragon Hunters working for him. Eret was one of them at the beginning of the second movie, and it would make sense that Viggo and his lot worked for Drago as well, except Drago doesn't pay his hunters. They're just part of his army, and if Viggo and the Dragon Hunters worked for Drago Bludvist, then Krogan certainly would not have bought Toothless in the way that we saw it in the episode. He would have just been handing over the dragons like we saw Eret doing, but that's clearly not the case. Krogan was there as a bidder at the auction, a buyer for Drago. No, Viggo and his Dragon Hunters don't work for Drago Bludvist. Instead, the two of them share a strong or prospective business relationship. After all, Drago knows that Viggo is one of the best Dragon Hunters in the entire world and wants to purchase dragons from him. Viggo knows that Drago wants as many dragons as possible for his army and so wants to sell them to him. That is why Krogan was a special guest. Viggo was hoping to start a business relationship with Drago, and this also makes sense as to why Drago doesn't have the technology that Viggo and the Dragon Hunters do throughout Race to the Edge, like dragon-proof cages or dragon root arrows which can easily take dragons down. You would think that if Drago owned the Dragon Hunters, then he would have gotten the rest of his army to use dragon root arrows. But he doesn't. Why? Because he doesn't know how to make the dragon root stuff that Viggo uses. Because Viggo hasn't told Drago. He doesn't want to give up his trade secrets that have clearly made his dragon hunting business so successful. And finally, DreamWorks themselves have actually confirmed that there is a connection between Viggo Grimborn and Drago Bludvist. In a video from DreamWorks TV a while ago, they actually said,
"You're right about the Dragon Hunters having ties to a large and nefarious network."
The writers were asked if the Hunters worked for Drago Bludvist, but all they confirmed was that there was a connection between the two of them. And of course, in writing Race to the Edge, the creators have specifically said that the events that take place there are going to specifically lead up to the second movie. So yes, Drago and Viggo are definitely connected. They share a business relationship, and they might have even met, though we're not quite sure. Drago wants as many dragons as possible, and Viggo is very happy to sell them to him. And Krogan is about to do something. Exactly what, we don't know. We're going to have to find out next season. Speaking of next season, I should probably do a predictions video, shouldn't I? Yeah, I should get around to that. I'm really bad at keeping up with the current events of the fandoms I talk about. I do a lot of theories and explanations of things that happened a long time ago. I'm really bad at the the current events kind of stuff. But that's all from me. Remember, SUBFURYs, to get your SUBFURY art competition entries in by the 20th of August this month. That is the deadline. Details in the description. I would love for you to enter. Also, thank you for all of your music suggestions last video. It was really cool to see how much diversity there was in music genres throughout the SUBFURY community. I actually listened to a few of the songs that you guys suggested. My question to you today is, if there was an apocalypse and you could only pick one series that cannot be How to Train Your Dragon or Race to the Edge, you had to pick one series that you loved to survive, what would you pick? Did you pick Avatar? Because it's Avatar. Also, check out the link to my second channel. I would love for you to come join me, where we can talk more casually. You can get to know me and I can get to know you. We'll talk about anything and everything. It's called To The Future, link down below. In the meantime, I'd love for you to join other SUBFURYs. Follow me on Twitter, Wattpad, Facebook, emailing me, or sending me stuff you've made at the links in the description below. Stay nerdy, SUBFURYs, and I'll see you in the future.